we're absolutely thrilled to have you with us today. And we have, for those of you familiar with the podcast, when we have a guest on, we have a series of questions that we always ask, and it allows us to get to know you a little better from a movie level, and also our listeners to kind of get a feel from, where you're from. And we're going to start off with Ben's question.
I feel like I need to have a better intro. I need to come up with some sort of maybe just reenact the first 5 minutes of Lost or something like that. But my question is, you're on a deserted island here, and you have a TV, you've got a Blu-ray player, you've got everything you need to enjoy, to consume some media. And I'm always curious from people who enjoy film, who their desert island actor or director would be, where you get that person's filmography. If they're still alive, you'll get the stuff they do in the future, but you get everything that they're a part of. And I just think it's a great way to get to know people and kind of find out what you like. So who would your desert island actor or director be?
I have been going back and forth on what this is. I want to give my original answer was Guillermo del Toro, because I'm a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro. And I just love his work. I love his imagination. And I actually went to his museum exhibit that he had in LA a few years ago.
Nice.
Where he all of his stuff. And that was so cool. And
that would be so cool.
That's the answer that I've been rattling around in my head. And I'll probably just stick to it. I was going to say John Carpenter too, because he has, but I don't know if I want to watch The Thing on a deserted island where I'm probably by myself. But
that's true.
He also has Big Trouble in Little China, which I can enjoy. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Del Toro.
Such a great pick.
Yeah, it's a great pick. You're getting at least one Best Film winner. You're getting a lot of great movies. I think that'd be awesome. I still to this day wish we would have gotten his Hobbit movie, because I think it would have been really cool for him to take that on. But let's add that to the list of what ifs, along with Edgar Wright's Ant-Man and just so many other things. But yeah, I like Guillermo. That's a great pick.
I also want his at the Mountains of Madness movie, because I know he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Yeah,
and he just didn't do it because of Alien or Prometheus. That's why he didn't do it.
Interesting.
Because they had similarities, so that's why he didn't do it. And probably because they didn't want to give him the money for it.
That minor detail too. Yeah, just
just a little thing, the thing that makes,
it's not a huge deal.
And I mean, as we'll talk about a little bit later in this episode, it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? There's some of these price tags can be fairly exorbitant. Well, speaking of movies with big budgets and big price tags, one of my favorite experiences in the theater, besides recently being back in theaters to see Black Widow, I always want to say Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Great movie. Great movie.
I just always like to hear about experiences people have enjoyed watching movies, whether it was in the theater or, at a sleepover as a kid or something. But what's an experience watching a movie that sticks out to you?
I think the easy answer, especially the nerdy answer, is anything comic book related. So the portal scene in Endgame.
Oh yeah.
I went to watch that. It was 7:00 show or something like that, and my whole crowd was into it. They were completely into it. And, they laughed and they cried after all the right moments. And then that portal scene opened. It was one of the loudest reactions I ever had experienced in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Right next to the first time I watched the Watchmen teaser, the very first one. That's The Dark Knight. That was also the first time that I ever saw someone literally get up from their seat cheering for a movie trailer.
Hell yeah.
That is the only time I've ever seen that.
Oh, that's great.
I remember being super hyped about Watchmen too before it came out, and I didn't even know anything about it. So I could see why, if it was your thing, seeing that realized like that would be really cool.
It was definitely that guy's thing, because he but I think honestly one of my favorite movie experiences is actually a film festival that's no longer around. It was called Action Fest. It was based in Asheville, North Carolina, and it was run by one of the guys that used to do he doesn't do it anymore. He used to do the Midnight Madness program for the Toronto International Film Festival.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And it was also co-run by Chuck Norris's brother, Aaron.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Nice.
And they would both be there. They would show up. So, like, very weird story. I didn't ask anything for him, but I was in the bathroom and I was, taking a pee. It was after a movie. I just hear these what sound like cowboy boots walking behind me, and standing next to me was Aaron Norris taking a pee. He was like, "Hey man, what's up?" I'm like, "Man, like you enjoying yourself?" I'm like, "The film festival, right? Yeah, I'm enjoying myself."
Yeah.
So I would say that because like that festival was it was devoted to straight up action movies.
Nice.
That's cool.
From here, from internationally, like movies that like wouldn't get a wide release or even a limited release here in the States.
Yeah.
They bought it in here.
Rad.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
So I would go with that.
Yeah, that sounds dope, man. I've yet to attend a film festival of any sort. I'd really like to at some point. I don't know which one and when and where, but it does sound really cool. Maybe probably Sundance if I had to guess. Like
Yeah.
I've been to Sundance, like been to Park City during Sundance, but like I didn't ever do like the whole festival thing like a friend of the pod Palcher does. But I just wanted to mention, so my girlfriend's not a big Marvel person, like at all. She likes Guardians of the Galaxy because she likes Groot. That's pretty much it. But she, for whatever reason, I think it was on like BuzzFeed or something, she watched the portal scene from Endgame. Like it was like a list of like epic scenes in movies, right?
Mm.
So that one came up, and so we watched it together. And like, even though she'd never seen any of it, like she was affected by that portal scene. Like she got teared up, like when T'Challa comes out.
Oh yeah.
She was like, oh, she's like, she got and like she loves the Guardians of the Galaxy, so watching Drax do his thing and everything. So it was just like that scene was so like, it's an understatement to say it was so good, because even someone who has no attachment to it, like she got super hyped. So I'll never forget watching Endgame in theaters or Infinity War. Like those two movies in theaters were something I'm really glad I experienced like with the masses as it happened.
Yeah, honestly, I think like the Portals song from the soundtrack probably ended up in like my Spotify year in review, because like just that music is so good and that adds so much to that scene. Like it's so powerful. That whole soundtrack, the whole score is fantastic. But there are definitely times I'm like, I just want to listen to Portals again because it's so powerful. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you saw The Dark Knight and cheered, got up out of your chair during the Watchmen trailer, please like and subscribe. If that was you,
Yeah.
sir, please. We'd love to have you
We'll
on the
talk
pod.
about Watchmen.
Yeah, we'll do a special little pod about Watchmen.
And now you've been eternalized through this podcast. So
Forever.
thank you for reacting that way. My question, we've done a couple rounds actually now, where the theme is unsung gems. And what an unsung gem is if you're familiar with the podcast, you already know, but I'm going to explain it for those who don't. It's a movie that you love, that you either feel like nobody else has even seen, or you just feel like it's grossly underappreciated by everybody you know. And so, Christian, what would you say is your unsung gem?
I've been thinking about this, and I think if you had asked me probably a year ago, I probably would have said Josie and the Pussycats.
Yes.
Okay.
But I feel like that movie's starting to get a little bit of recognition over the last year. But I'm gonna go with Book of Life, which came out a few years. It's what Coco should have been back then, but not enough people saw it.
Yeah.
And then Coco came out, and everyone was like, "No, we don't need you.
We don't need this. We already have this."
I love Coco. Okay, I love it's my culture. I teared up, everything. But Book of Life, I think, is one that I think people should go check out, especially if you like Coco.
Yeah.
Well, and it's got I'd heard of Book of Life, but it's got a rad cast.
Yeah,
Zoe
Whiskey's
Saldana
great.
and
Yeah.
Ron Perlman, Ice Cube. Got a lot of cool people in here. It looks cool.
I've seen the end kiss scene because my 6-year-old will rewind and watch kiss scenes over and over again. So I've seen the end kiss scene. The soundtrack sounds really awesome too.
Soundtrack's great, yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they did their own singing. I think it was Diego Luna who's the
yeah.
I can't remember the song.
Yep.
Yeah. I think he did like the main song for the like he does his own singing in the movie, which
nice
helps him a lot. But yeah, I really love Book of Life. Like that was one of those movies where I didn't really think I was gonna like, or I didn't think I was gonna like, but I just like I went in there with like no expectations.
Right.
It was I went in. I literally went to go see it like on a Wednesday afternoon or something like that. So I just went in and I watched it and I really liked it. And it's one of those movies where I'm kind of surprised that not a lot of people have seen.
Yeah.
And again, with Coco coming out, it was like, oh, like we now have a new, Day of the Dead movie.
Yeah.
But again, no bashing on Coco.
Sure.
I also love Book of Life.
Diego Luna for Angie Crushmore. We got to shout out our favorite
Weiler.
Weiler.
Watch it.
And produced by Del Toro, so that's going on your island with you.
There
so that's
you go.
perfect. You've got Book of Life with you. I think that's great.
I gotta add this one to the list. Apparently,
it's something I've always been interested in, but I love Coco so much. I think it's arguably the most beautiful Pixar movie ever. And I've just been like, I don't know why, just like not afraid to watch. I'm like, I just don't want to ruin what I love about Coco, to see this. But like, hearing, a good endorsement from you, I'm like, maybe it's worth checking out. Like they can be separate. It's just hard when they come out so close together. It's like, you feel like you got to choose sides, but I do love Diego Luna and Zoe Saldana. So yeah, it looks like a great cast.
Yeah, I'll for sure get on it. And also Josie and the Pussycats would have been a great pick, but you're right. It seems like there is kind of like an awakening around that.
But we may be talking about Josie later on. Stay tuned.
Cool. Well, thanks for answering those questions. Those are great answers. We love that segment, getting to know people a little better.